Hi folks, welcome to RJA Impact. Today we're going to be talking about week 2 in the Holmes Theranos trial. You can search this channel for the week 1 update and also for a more detailed video on the background to Theranos and Holmes' journey to this point where the trial's commenced. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and also hit the notification button so that you don't miss out on any future videos. As a reminder, Elizabeth Holmes is in court accused of multiple instances of fraud against patients and investors in connection with her role as CEO of Theranos.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
This is week 2 of that trial. Because the defence has raised several issues during the week about what some witnesses could say in court and some of the exhibits that the prosecution might use, the week was a bit stop-start, with the jury being asked to leave on several occasions while the court ruled on admissibility. What also didn't help was that one of the jurors last week apparently tested positive for COVID. The judge ordered that they stay on lockdown for a couple of days, including over the weekend, to see what threat that might pose. We understand that everyone tested negative after that period and the trial recommenced. During the week we had the continuation of witness testimony from the prosecution witnesses. Erica Chung. Just as a reminder, Erica was the whistleblower who gave testimony the previous week. She'd left Theranos after only 6 months, claiming that she was concerned that Theranos practices were putting patients' health at risk. We heard the start of her testimony last week, which is in week 1 of this series. We learned during this week that Holmes and Balwani had texted each other about Chung and how they thought that she was at least one of the sources that the Wall Street Journal had used in their exposés of the company at that time. They also suspected, i.e. Holmes and Balwani, that there was another whistleblower, and that was Tyler Schultz, grandson of George Schultz. Yes, that George Schultz, former Secretary of State, who was a Theranos board member at that time. Apparently the company had hired an investigations firm at a cost of $150,000 called Interfor in efforts to silence the alleged whistleblowers. Chung stated how she was approached in the company car park of the company she went to work after leaving Theranos late at night by someone who'd been sitting there to be provided with a legal threat of a lawsuit if she breached her non-disclosure agreement. As the lawsuit contained some personal information, for example the address of a temporary residence that she was staying, in her words this, in quotes, scared her and rattled her sense of personal safety. In our opinion, you can get a sense of what the prosecution is trying to do here. It's implying to the jury that if there were no problems in the company, then why did it go to such extreme lengths to silence people? Sarika Gangakidar. Also, earlier in the week, we found out about Sarika, who was one of Theranos scientists who's going to be called by the prosecution. She was actually called later in the week on Friday. This is interesting as we found out that Sarika was given immunity by the prosecution against any charges that could arise against her. Apparently she would have otherwise invoked her Fifth Amendment rights if called to the stand and not said anything. On Wednesday, Holmes arrived hand in hand with her mother, as she has for most days, and we only mention this as it seems a bit staged. What could be gained from this is unclear, but it is curious that Holmes' partner is not there every day with her. Perhaps he's at home looking after their child. Just thoughts. There were again arguments between the prosecution and defence about whether emails that Holmes had not received or sent directly could be used as evidence. The defence said that these were second-hand and therefore hearsay. Apparently the emails might show that senior scientists had grave doubts about the accuracy and reliability of Theranos technology. And back to Erica, whose testimony continued. As a lab associate, she outlined how lab employees routinely manipulated data to allow the company's Edison devices to continue operating. She said that quality control tests routinely failed, and she was told to discard some data samples as outliers to make their lab reports look better. John Bostic for the prosecution asked Erica whether, in quotes, there were times when you were uncomfortable running patient samples because of the concerns we've discussed. The simple answer back from Erica was yes. On Thursday, we got back to arguments between the defence and the prosecution about Sarika Gandakar's call to the stand, or at least to 6 categories of testimony that she might give. Apparently Sarika took some documents with her when she left Theranos, and the defence brought that up as an issue. We presume this is to cast doubt on the veracity of testimony of someone who could take documents. Prosecutors sought to challenge the legal tactics of the defence and said that the defence should challenge and make objections when the witnesses are on the stand and not waste court time by debating these sorts of matters while the jury is not present. We also found out about another witness that the government expects to call, Sunil Dhawan. Sunil was Theranos lab director, and he has been quoted in the past as saying, in quotes, "Theranos put people in danger." It will be interesting to hear what he has to say. On Friday, we got back to Erica Chung again, who was this time questioned by the defence. We had the defence showing emails that Theranos employees had devised regular quality control processes and testing procedures. For example, details of who was responsible for what preventative and corrective actions, and a 911 email group for urgent issues that needed addressing. Apparently Chung had actually sent a 911 email to the group in November 2013 about an issue, which was followed up with a response from Daniel Young, a Theranos VP, in which he stated that the issue had been remedied. Ms. Chung said she disagreed with Young. Chung said that a list of hundreds of tests sent to doctors and patients for requests was misleading, as only 9 of those tests could actually be undertaken on Theranos Edison machines. Many of the tests listed could not even be undertaken on a standard commercial analyzer without intravenous blood, as opposed to the Theranos finger prick. Sarika eventually took the stand on Friday. She was a chemist who'd worked for the company for about 8 years. Under questioning, she said that when she found out that Theranos was preparing to put its devices into Walgreens on a mass rollout, she knew that there were reliability issues and said, at the time, they were not fully resolved. Of key importance in her testimony, and remember here that she reported directly to Holmes, was the fact that she stated Holmes was aware of these issues. One of the problems actually arose out of Theranos' signature, Nanotain. You know, the one in all those pictures. Apparently this didn't capture enough blood for some of the tests. For example, a thyroid hormone test gave absolutely no result at all with the amount of blood used. Robert Leach, attorney for the prosecution, asked an obvious question whether this was good news or bad news. Bad news was the simple answer. We expect there'll be more testimony from Sarika over the next couple of days. Well, that's it for now. Please note that I might be a day or two behind or a day or two ahead each time I look back at the week, depending on when I get time to produce these videos. Please bear with me on that. I won't miss anything key. I thought I'd try and provide a couple of sentence summaries on each week's development. A lot of the court reporting is very dry indeed, so I've avoided that where possible. This week's summary, and please don't forget these are prosecution witnesses at the moment. We had Chung, the whistleblower, who pointed to deficiencies she noted in Theranos lab practices, claimed patients were put at risk as a result of poor processes and procedures. However, to rebut this, the defence pointed to actual processes that she'd actually participated in. She got heavy legal threats when she first became a whistleblower. Sarika Gangakidar, the chemist. Sarika had been provided immunity from prosecution for anything that she might say. She said that Theranos products and testing were not ready for the big rollout with Walgreens. As she reported to Holmes, saying that Holmes was aware of deficiencies, that might carry some extra weight depending on how the prosecution develops its arguments. And that's it, week 2 in a nutshell. For those of you who are following closely, you can see I'm trying to condense things down to the key essentials. If you think anything key is missed, please leave a comment below and I'll pick it up in future videos. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos when they're public.